In Britain, a deadly zombie virus escapes from a lab and spreads quickly, killing thousands of people. Don and his wife Alice, who has two different colored eyes, hide in a remote countryside cottage with other survivors. Joff, Sally, Jacob, and Karen. Don and Alice are relieved that their two children are safe in Spain on a school trip, far away from the chaos. One day, while the group is having lunch, they hear someone knocking desperately on the door, begging for help. Don's gonna want to let the stranger in, but Alice points out that it's a child's voice, so Don finally agrees. They give the boy some food, and he tells them his story. His parents turned into zombies and chased him along with a group of others. He had to run from a nearby town to escape. Meanwhile, Karen is worried about her boyfriend, who left a few days ago and hasn't returned. She uncovers part of a window to look outside, but that little noise is enough to draw the attention of nearby zombies. They smash through the window and wooden barricade, grabbing Karen's arm and biting her. Jacob quickly pulls Karen back, but she turns into a zombie almost immediately, vomiting blood and attacking him. Don appears just in time and hits Karen on the head, killing her and allowing Jacob to escape. But more zombies are coming. Don stays behind to hold them off so the others can flee. Alice and the boy head down a hallway, but zombies begin breaking through other windows, forcing them to run upstairs. The boy runs so fast that Alice loses track of him. Joff, Sally, and Jacob attempt to escape through the barn, but the zombies follow them. Joff stays behind to block the door, giving the others a chance to escape. The zombies break through, killing Joff quickly. Sally watches in horror as her husband is eaten, but the delay gives the zombies enough time to catch her too. Jacob tries to save her but can't, so he is forced to close the hatch and escape through a window as Sally is devoured. Downstairs, Don manages to take down several zombies, but he loses his weapon in the struggle and has to flee. When he hears Alice scream, he rushes to find her, urging her to escape, but Alice refuses to leave without the boy. While Don tries to hold off the zombies, Alice finds the boy hiding, but a zombie separates her from Don. Alice begs for help, but Don, terrified, closes the door and escapes through a window, leaving his wife and the boy trapped with the zombies. Don runs across the farmland, chased by dozens of zombies, ignoring Alice's cries from the window. Eventually, he reaches a river dock where Jacob is trying to escape on a motorboat. Don jumps into the boat first to start the engine while Jacob finishes untying it, but Jacob slips and falls into the water, where he's bitten by zombies. He turns into one and tries to attack Don, who kicks him off and kills him with the boat's propeller before finally sailing away to safety. 15 days after the outbreak, Britain is quarantined. By day 28, the virus has wiped out the entire country. 5 days later, the zombies start dying of starvation, and by 11 weeks, NATO forces from the US begin cleaning up the area. By 18 weeks, Britain is declared free of infection, and by week 24, Reconstruction starts as survivors who escaped return. American soldiers like Sniper Doyle and helicopter pilot Flynn patrol London, bored from the lack of zombies to fight. A plane arrives with children returning from their school trips, which frustrates Dr. Scarlet, who thinks it's too soon to bring kids back. During her tests on the new arrivals, she meets Tammy and Andy, Don and Alice's children. She notices that Andy has different colored eyes, and he explains he got it from his mom. After confirming they're healthy, the siblings take a train through London, watching soldiers burn bodies, clean up toxic waste, and sanitize the streets. They eventually arrive at District 1, a secure repatriation zone, where they reunite with their father. Don He shows them his fancy apartment, which he got for being the caretaker of District 1, but the kids are more interested in what happened to their mom. Don lies and tells them that zombies killed Alice and there was nothing he could do to save her. That night, Andy has a nightmare of his mom turning into a zombie. He wakes up scared, afraid of forgetting what she looked like, and goes to sleep with his sister. The next morning, after Don leaves for work, Andy and Tammy sneak out of the apartment without telling anyone. They cross a bridge to leave the safe zone, which is spotted by Doyle on his rooftop post. He alerts his team while the siblings run through empty parts of London, enjoying their freedom. They find a delivery bike parked outside a pizzeria, and Tammy goes inside to search for the keys. She's horrified to discover that the restaurant is full of rotting bodies. Tammy covers her mouth and nose as she carefully takes keys from a body, but gets startled when a bunch of roaches crawls out. She also grabs a helmet and then reunites with her brother. Together, they ride off on a bike, driving through a city devastated by a zombie attack. Along the way, they see the destruction and the many extra graves that were made over the last few months. Eventually, they arrive at their old house, where they take a picture of Alice and gather some of their old belongings. Andy heads up to the attic, where he notices the windows are covered and the table is full of rotten food. There are also strange marks on the walls, including his and Tammy's names. Suddenly, Andy spots someone in the mirror, thinking it's Tammy, but it turns out to be Alice. She looks mostly fine, except for one bloodshot eye. Alice rushes to hug Andy, and at first he's happy to see her, but her hug quickly becomes too tight. Just then, the military shows up, takes the kids, and captures Alice. Later, Alice is given a thorough shower and strapped to a stretcher. Scarlet tries asking her some questions, but Alice remains silent. After taking a blood sample, Scarlet realizes Alice was bitten by a zombie, yet she hasn't turned. Scarlet finishes her tests and discovers that Alice carries the virus and can infect others, but she's somehow immune to it. This makes Alice valuable as she could help create a vaccine, but the higher-ups want her dead before she spreads the virus. They tell Scarlet to do her tests later on Alice's corpse. Meanwhile, Tammy and Andy are in quarantine, and when their father, Don, visits, they shout at him for lying. Guilt-ridden, Don sneaks past military security to visit Alice in isolation. However, this causes Don to become infected instantly. He starts feeling sick and screams in agony as he turns into a zombie. Alice is horrified but helpless as she's still tied up. Don then brutally attacks her, biting her neck and crushing her eyes before leaving. Afterward, Don attacks the guards, biting them to death, and escapes from the hospital to spread the virus across District 1 when the authorities find out. They retreat to a safety bunker and initiate a lockdown known as Code Red. As the soldiers prepare to fight the outbreak, Tammy and Andy see their guard come back as a zombie, trying to break through the glass to get to them. Before he can reach them, his head explodes when Scarlett shoots him. She frees the kids and leads them out, running past the bodies scattered throughout the building. They soon find themselves in a panicked crowd trying to escape. When soldiers tell Scarlett that civilians need to go a different way, she insists that the kids are top priority. A heated argument breaks out, and in the chaos, Andy gets separated from Scarlett and Tammy. He's pushed into a garage with other civilians, and the soldiers lock them inside for safety. But then the power goes out across the district. While waiting in the dark, Andy hears a noise and checks the door, only to find his father, now a zombie, covered in blood. Don goes berserk, shaking the door until he breaks it down and starts attacking and biting the civilians. Andy panics and hides as the virus rapidly spreads through the garage, turning more people into zombies. In the chaos, Andy climbs on top of the crowd and crawls to the ventilation system where he hides. Meanwhile, the other civilians manage to break the lock and escape through the stairs, but this also allows the zombies to get out, spreading the infection even further. Emergency lights flash on the streets, allowing soldiers to rush toward the hospital while snipers provide cover. As zombies flood into the lobby, Scarlett and Tammy flee, and the soldiers open fire. On the rooftops, Doyle and the other snipers show impressive skill as they shoot zombie after zombie, but no matter how many they take down, more keep coming. It's getting harder to tell who is infected and who isn't. The soldiers are supposed to shoot only the zombies, but the chaos on the security cameras shows things are out of control. The higher-ups finally admit defeat and order the soldiers to kill everyone they see. As the soldiers increase their firepower, a massacre begins. Andy, who was hiding in the vents, suddenly finds himself in the middle of this deadly scene. Luckily, Doyle is watching his sector and refuses to shoot at survivors. He quickly kills the zombies around Andy, including one that almost reaches him, giving Andy a chance to escape with the remaining survivors. Meanwhile, some zombies make it to the rooftops and start attacking snipers. After clearing the streets, Doyle has no choice but to flee too. The survivors take cover in a warehouse, where Andy reunites with Scarlett and Tammy. He tells Tammy about their father. Not long after, Doyle joins them and offers to help lead the survivors out before the military kills them. They exit the building through the back door, cautiously sneaking through the dark streets, careful not to be spotted by the guards. When Flynn passes overhead in his helicopter, Doyle makes the group wait while he distracts Flynn over the radio, allowing them to move safely again. Then Flynn gives them grim news. In 4 minutes, the military will bomb all of District 1. Doyle persuades Flynn to pick him up at Regent's Park. Without mentioning the survivors, the group immediately starts running toward the park, but a sniper takes down one of the survivors. They quickly hide, but the sniper keeps firing and more people are killed. Scarlett gets hit with a flesh wound, leaving only her, the siblings, Doyle, and a man named Sam alive. Once they find cover behind a wall, Doyle tries using a piece of metal as a mirror to locate the sniper, but the shooter instantly hits it. Doyle realizes the sniper isn't a soldier, just a panicked civilian. He asks Sam to run in a zigzag to distract the sniper, but Sam refuses. Andy bravely takes the risk and runs instead. The zigzag movement causes the inexperienced shooter to miss, and Doyle manages to take him out with a single shot. Andy hides behind another wall and is stunned to see his father standing there, but before he can react, the group pulls him away and the vision of Don vanishes. The group sprints and climbs over a fence to escape District 1 just before the bombs start dropping. The entire area explodes, killing thousands, and all of Scarlett's research for a cure is destroyed. Flames burst through the hospital windows, engulfing Alice and burning her alive. The group continues to run through a tunnel as the flames get closer, but they make it out just before the building explodes behind them. The generals watch from their bunker in shock as many zombies survive the bombing and start escaping into London. These zombies enter buildings, attacking people and causing chaos all over the city. In the morning, Doyle's group reaches Regent's Park, which has been abandoned since the virus outbreak. As they wait for Flynn, Scarlett explains to Doyle about Alice and the possibility that the children could carry a gene that might lead to a vaccine. Just then, Flynn contacts Doyle, warning him about the zombies that escaped and says he's on his way. Doyle quickly has everyone hide in the tall grass. Flynn lands nearby, but gets upset when he sees the whole group and refuses to take them all. While they argue, Sam notices the zombies getting closer, so he runs and grabs onto the helicopter. Angry, Flynn starts flying wildly, trying to shake Sam off. When the zombies finally reach the park, Flynn lowers the helicopter and uses the rotor blades to kill them, splattering blood and guts everywhere. However, some zombies survive and start chasing Doyle, Scarlett, and the kids. Sam eventually falls off the helicopter and, covered in blood, likely turns into a zombie as well. The group keeps running, with Doyle occasionally shooting at the zombies that get too close. Flynn tells Doyle to meet him at Wembley Stadium but insists on leaving the others behind. As they turn a corner, they are shocked to see the military pumping gas into the city. They rush into a car to hide. The zombies soon catch up and shake the vehicle, smearing blood all over the windows. But when the gas reaches them, the zombies die instantly. Afterwards, soldiers with flamethrowers show up to kill any remaining zombies. Doyle tries to start the car but fails, so he pushes it to jumpstart it. While Scarlett and the kids manage to escape, Doyle is burned to death by the soldiers. Scarlett takes control of the car and speeds through London, but they're spotted by military helicopters which open fire. Dodging the bullets, Scarlett drives into the subway tunnels. They continue on foot, but the lower tunnels are very dark, so Scarlet uses Doyle's night vision scope to lead us down an escalator. However, they slip on some old bodies, fall, and get separated. While searching for the kids, Scarlet yells their names, eventually finding Tammy. Unfortunately, a noise attracts a zombie, who attacks and kills Scarlet by beating her with Doyle's weapon. After the zombie leaves, Tammy finds Scarlet's body and is heartbroken. Meanwhile, Andy is alone on a dark platform where he's found by the zombie that killed Scarlet. The zombie bites Andy on the neck, and when Tammy arrives, she is horrified to see the zombie as their father. Despite her shock, she shoots him to protect herself. Tammy then checks on Andy, who runs away, afraid of infecting her. Tammy chases after him, and when he falls, sees that one of his eyes is turning bloodshot, just like their mother Alice's, meaning he is also immune. The siblings finally reach Wembley Stadium and tell Flynn the sad news about Doyle with no other choice. Flynn takes the kids and flies over Britain to escape to mainland Europe. 28 days later, Flynn's helicopter is found abandoned in France, and someone can be heard calling for help on the radio. A horde of zombies is then shown running toward the Eiffel Tower, revealing that the virus has spread beyond Britain.